Travel behind the scenes as Tom Hanks and Meg Ryan come together on the screen once again in a film from the writer-director of Sleepless in Seattle, Nora Ephron.
Background action!
Warner Brothers presents You've Got Mail, a story of two people who have discovered that the best way to meet someone is to never meet at all. What they don't realize is that they already have.
Hi.
In life, they're at odds.
Joe Fox. I'm in the book business.
I am in the book business.
But online, they're in love.
Do you think we should meet?
Meet? Oh my God.
Join entertainment journalist Holly Millay for an intimate conversation with You've Got Mail's writer-director Nora Ephron about reteaming with Tom Hanks and Meg Ryan, and to hear from the stars who have worked with her.
I mean, there's some movies that you do where you just kind of like, you know, you're always like putting it in your own words, and you can't do that with Nora's work, because it really is like she makes these souffles of movies.
Cut!
You've Got Mail.
Over the years, I've had the chance to interview Nora on several occasions. This time, I had the opportunity to discuss her filmmaking career as well as the path she followed to her latest project.
Here we go, and roll 3 cameras.
So, You've Got Mail. Tell me what attracted you first to this project.
I have always loved this story. Not just The Shop Around the Corner, which is the original movie with Jimmy Stewart and Margaret Sullivan, but then it became She Loves Me, which I saw when it originally was on Broadway in the 60s, and then they revived it about 4 years ago. And I couldn't stop going to see it. It destroyed me. It just killed me.
What about it? What about it?
First of all, it has a divine structure, and I love structure. You learn to love structure when you make movies because structure does so much for you. The structure being, two people are crazy about each other by mail. In the original, in a little Lonely Hearts pen pal club in Budapest at the turn of the century, but in our movie by email. They meet, they hate each other, they have no idea that they are the person they're in love with. And then they meet, and he discovers that the woman he's in love with is the woman he hates, but she doesn't know.
Well, that's the first good thing I've heard about this guy.
His address. No. No. He would never do anything that prosaic.
Huh.
What is Nora saying about love in 1998? That it's the same as love in 1945. It's always the same. It's a powerful, complicated, paradoxical, stupid, crazy, great thing.
What is that? What are you doing? You're taking all the caviar? That caviar is a garnish.
First of all, to get somebody of the quality of Nora Ephron is a feat in and of itself. She's just so smart about everything, life in general. But she's particularly astute about romance. She just seems to get it.
May I please come up?
No, I don't really think that that is a good idea because I have a terrible cold.
The casting of Meg Ryan and Tom Hanks together in a second film for you. What is it about these two that you love this coupling on screen?
You know, they are people that both men and women love in equal amounts, and they're both really smart, and people look at them and they think, God, I bet if I knew them, they'd be just like that. And guess what? They're right.
I have met Joe Fox, and I've heard him compare his store to a price club and the books in it to cans of olive oil.
She's not as nice as she seems on television.
Probably ain't as fine as she look on TV either.
Oh, no, she's beautiful. But she's a pill.
Is Tom Hanks as funny off screen as he is on screen?
Yes. I mean, I've seen Tom do things like at people's birthday parties where he stands up and gives a toast that everyone's jaws are sort of on the ground from. He is so breathtakingly funny. He truly could have been a stand-up. He could have been anything he wanted.
I didn't lie to you.
You did too.
No, I didn't.
Yes, you did.
I did not.
You did too.
I did
you
not.
You did too.
I did not.
Yeah, you did too. I thought all that Fox stuff was so charming. F-O-X.
Well, I didn't lie about it.
Joe? Just call me Joe?
Sure.
As if you were one of those stupid 22-year-old girls with no last name. Hi, I'm Kimberly. Hi, I'm Janice. Don't they know you're supposed to have a last name? It's like they're an entire generation of cocktail waitresses.
Look. I am not a 22-year-old cocktail waitress.
Oh, you poor sad multimillionaire. I feel so sorry for you.
Meg said that you write roles now, some roles, with her in mind.
Oh, I think I write almost everything with her in mind, but that does not make me unique. I mean, I think most people, when they write a part for an intelligent woman, have Meg in their brains. She's the one you hope you're going to get to do your movies, and then sometimes she does.
I'm just wondering. I'm wondering about my work and all, and I'm just... I mean, what is it that I do exactly? All I really do is run a children's bookstore.
All you really do is this incredibly noble thing.
Well, I don't know. No,
Kathleen!
I'm just...
You are a lone reed. You are a lone reed. Standing tall, waving boldly in the corrupt sands of commerce.
With Nora, she has her own, very own characteristics and style that you instantly get when you read her material. So it's great.
I could never be with anybody who doesn't take politics as seriously as I do.
Do you mind?
A hot dog is singing. You need quiet while a hot dog is singing?
Nora, you have such a distinctive voice as a writer. Where did you develop your voice? Did it come from your parents or your own sensibility in the world?
I think Delia and I have sort of...
Delia, who is your sister?
Delia, my sister, whom I wrote You've Got Mail with and many other things with. And we have lots of friends who have voices. You know, people with personality usually have a voice. The question is, can you get it into your writing?
Right, stay true to that.
Yeah, and I'm not one of those people who, when I started writing, could do it. But after I did it for a while...
It didn't come really easily to you?
Not at all, no. I mean, I worked at the New York Post for 5 years, and then I was a magazine writer for a little while before I really got to be able to do that. I remember the first time someone told me that he'd laughed at something I'd written, I went, oh, God, how great.
Action! Nora's voice, you know, it just resounds throughout the screenplay. That's just another testament to how Nora always has her eye out for whatever is the latest or the newest odd thing, the newest odd way for people to interact.
This is a cash-only line.
Oh, she has no cash.
I'll get on another line, lady.
I have $1. That's all I have. I have $1. Is there anything you
Hello?
can do? Hello.
Hi. Do you need some money?
No, I do not need any money.
Cash only?
Knock, knock.
Who's there?
Orange.
Orange who?
Orange, you going to give us a break by zipping this credit card through the credit card machine? There you go.
Nora, you grew up in a family of writers. Your mother and father are writers, and they wrote lots of movies. What was it like growing up in Hollywood? First of all, we should say what movies they wrote. They wrote Carousel.
They wrote Daddy Longlegs and The Desk Set and
all those romantic
the
comedies.
Jackpot and yes.
And they wrote 2 plays. And both of which were based on material that they called From Raising You.
From their lives, yes, from their lives.
Okay,
yeah.
So what was it like growing up in a house with 2 writers? Did you feel, not a pressure necessarily, but an inclination to be a writer based on what your parents did?
No, I felt that my parents were screenwriters, and therefore I was going to be not a screenwriter.
Right.
I was going to rebel and be a journalist. I mean, you would have thought that I was going to go and build log cabins or something. I thought it was the most diametrically opposed thing you could ever do. I mean, I think I was trained as a kid growing up in a very sort of strange way to realize that things weren't all that serious. My parents had no capacity whatsoever for anything that was genuinely painful. So if you ever came home with anything that was painful, they always said this thing that I say all the time. They always used to look at us and say, everything is copy. Meaning, someday you will be able to write about this and you will see that it isn't quite as horrible as you think. And that causes you, for good or bad reasons, to sort of develop a third eye when even horrible things are happening to you.
Right. How cathartic of an experience can movie making be, having...
Well, I don't feel that these movies I make are autobiographical in that way that you're talking about. But I get an enormous amount of pleasure from trying to do the things I did in journalism,
right.
Little essays and things, sort of plunking them into movies now and then. I mean, there's a thing in You've Got Mail where Tom writes Meg about what Starbucks actually is.
Yeah.
And it's, you know, it's only a minute long, but it really is a chance to drop a 1-minute essay into a movie.
The whole purpose of places like Starbucks is for people with no decision-making ability whatsoever to make 6 decisions just to buy 1 cup of coffee.
Mocha Frappuccino Grande.
So people who don't know what the hell they're doing or who on earth they are can, for only $2.95, get not just a cup of coffee, but an absolutely defining sense of self.
All-skin caramel macchiato.
Tall.
Have a good day.
Decaf. Cappuccino.
Called decaf cappuccino.
Now, I find this concept interesting in the film that you actually fall in love with someone. You learn to love someone truly before you ever lay eyes on them. Did you think of that when you were working on this?
Well, I think it's a real conceit of romantic comedy, certainly of this particular romantic comedy, that you would fall in love with someone entirely because of words. But I think it's a fantasy that you would ever really fall in love with someone entirely because of the fact that they were a great writer.
Really? You think that's a fantasy?
I think it is a fantasy, yes. I think that there are plenty of people who can whip themselves up into a frenzy of love for a writer that they read, but I think if it turned out to be someone that didn't appeal to them, I don't know quite what would happen.
May I ask who you are?
No.
It's very difficult, I think, over the course of 120 pages, to find a screenplay, this blueprint for a movie, that just falls natural, like water off of a rock. It just reads so perfectly one scene to the next, and it all makes sense.
I don't know his name or what he does.
This woman is the most adorable creature I've ever been in contact with.
It's such a mystery to me because I read it and all the fullness of it just hits me in the face, and I feel like it's so perfectly Nora. It's so smart. It's so simple.
Why am I compelled to even meet her?
It's good to be a real dog.
See you later. Don't worry about a thing.
I think everybody had in mind Tom and Meg. I mean, I think you think romantic comedy, Tom Hanks, Meg Ryan. I think it's all the same sentence. So, of course, we always had them in mind.
I would really appreciate it if you would just go away.
I brought you flowers.
Oh?
May I ask who you are?
Kathleen Kelly, I own this store. And you are?
Joe. Just call me Joe. We'll take these books.
When you look at pictures that Tom Hanks and Meg Ryan have done together, show a great respect, I think, for the traditions of movies of the past, and a great respect for the traditions of male-female relationships. Bacall and Bogart, Loy and Powell, Tracy and Hepburn, Garland and Rooney. It worked on screen because this was very much a part of their personas and their interaction off the screen.
The stars were delicious. They were delightful. They seemed real. They seemed to be these people they were playing.
That kind of dynamism between actors is very rare.
Yeah, I know a lot about you, Slim.
The next time I get slapped, I'd better do something about it.
Hey, you forgot your drink.
I don't want it.
Who's sore now?
I am.
In the days of the studio system, you signed a 7-year contract that bound you to the studio.
They weren't asked if they would like to do the picture, they were told.
I won't go. You can't boss me around.
Can I not now?
If you were under contract to a studio, you made 3, 4, 5 pictures a year because they wanted to get their money's worth.
After the studio system broke up, it became fairly unusual for people to be in the same films, to be acting together over and over again.
Remember me?
Nowadays, to have a screen couple, films take anywhere from 6 months to a year and a half to make, and there's a lot of logistics involved. So to have a couple like Tom Hanks and Meg Ryan be in 3 films in which they're a romantic pair is really something unusual and wonderful in this day and age.
I think when you have a great romantic comedy, the fact that there are so many box office successes with the good ones is proof positive, again, of America saying, oh, why isn't it like this?
We want to believe in pairs. We want to believe in romantic coupling. And why is that? Because we're looking for it in our real lives. That's what we want, and that's what we go to the movies for.
I think it's important to see these films, to review these films, to share these films. Because number one, they are entertainment, pure and simple. And pure entertainment is a very difficult commodity to come by.
Young lady I've been dying to meet for a long time. She's so cute, sweet. Oh boy, can she sing a song. Her name is Judy Garland.
Judy Garland and Mickey Rooney are really unique in Hollywood because they're 2 authentically named superstars who have both lasted forever. They are part of the iconography of Hollywood.
Judy was a very special, wonderful person. She had a charisma people don't even have today.
I think one of the most telling things you can say about them is that theater owners across the country in the early 40s said, it doesn't matter what the title of the movie is. If we just put Mickey Rooney and Judy Garland on the marquee, everybody's going to come.
We've got to have a great show with 1,000,000 laughs and color and a lot of lights to make it sparkle. And songs. Wonderful songs with you out there selling them.
Oh, it'll be wonderful.
Well, Mickey was the vaudeville kid. He was on stage from the time he was 18 months old. And when they cast him as Andy Hardy, the quintessential Midwestern boy next door, his career just took off.
Being a celebrity is not the important thing in life. It's being nice to people and enjoying what you're doing and loving what you're doing, what you're cut out to do.
He was like Garland in he was that vaudevillian trained entertainer who could do everything.
These people are hugely talented. They can sing, they can dance, they can play musical instruments, they can do comedy, they can do pratfalls, they can do tragedy and make you cry. They're just like, nobody can match these people, and yet the kids.
Not only were they like a force of nature in person, that energy somehow leapt through the camera and onto the screen, and the audiences would feel it.
They just sparked together. They just came together, and they were able to understand each other.
One thing that worked very well with Judy and Mickey is that where he came in like 6 tornadoes and an earthquake, she was just right there alongside him every step of the way, underplaying. So she was like the foundation on which the team operated. You can't build a big Mickey Rooney building unless you've got a Judy Garland foundation there underneath it.
Don't move! Don't stay right where you are. Now, don't stop me if I sound crazy, but tonight you and I and Hammy and Ray and all the kids from the Pit Astor drugstore are leaving on the train with Jonesy at the bar in Philadelphia. We open in Thornton Reed's new show. Oh!
When Mickey Rooney and Judy Garland had their on-screen pairings, they really represented what was America's hope for the future.
The Andy Hardy series, though, brought the Americana family reasoning to the public. And at a time when things were disarray, they seemed to bring everybody together.
It was showing this American youthful enthusiasm for conquering a problem, and I think it was really considered a beacon of hope.
Mickey and Judy, they sing, they dance, they cavort, and of course they're supposedly, very young, so that they don't have any steaming romantic scenes, but they're in their way a couple.
They brought something to each other, a gift. Each could give the other the gift of, I've been there as a kid, just like you were. I know what this is all about. I know the pressure. I know the deal.
There's a great story about the opening night of their musical Babes in Arms, which was their first big picture together. It was at Grauman's Chinese in October 1939. And the picture is a huge triumph, and the audience is cheering these two teens. And so Mickey said to Judy very low under the applause, she had tears in her eyes, she said, I know what you're thinking. We were two kids from vaudeville who didn't mean a damn thing. And now it's happened to both of us.
Well, I'm sorry to disappoint you, but I'm afraid you won't do.
No?
No, I wanted an older man.
Well, I'm much older than I look. Somehow I thought you'd be older, too.
When you think of Tracy and Hepburn and their completely different styles, you would think Spencer Tracy and Katharine Hepburn? But of course, that uniqueness is what worked.
The two of them being totally different people, she always being kind of the ladylike, intellectual, very shy kind of person, and he being a real man's man, somebody who's a little bit crude, but they fall in love and they complement each other in the films.
They were professionals, but they loved each other.
The whole manner of Hepburn versus the relatively down-to-earth manner of Tracy, and yet you sensed almost from the beginning that they were going to somehow get together because of this contrast, but because of the fact that there was something in each of them that saw something in the other, and it developed. And sometimes it developed in odd ways, which is part of the charm and part of the fun.
1 out.
No, 1 strike. That's a strike. He gets 2 more of those before he's out.
Why?
Well, because are you kidding?
When you're watching them, in most of them it isn't an overt sexuality. It's more of an intellectual battle of the sexes.
Each of whom seems absolutely determined that things will be their own way. As we watch it and their battles take place and their clashes take place and their differences emerge, it's the fun for us, the viewer, because we know they're going to get together, but it's the challenge there. It's the challenge of opposites, and that's the excitement to them.
Stop it!
But darling, Lila told me you simply adored cette chanson, n'est-ce pas?
Come here, my little sleeping beauty.
When they made their first film, which is Woman of the Year, there's a great scene, and it's one of the few scenes in which Katharine Hepburn actually does something sort of sexy. He comes in and you see her leg in a stocking, and she's sort of pulling up her stocking, and you see her in high heels in film, and it kind of sets the stage for their relationship in that, yeah, they're intellectual, but they can have a romance, a sexual relationship.
Something I've got to get off my chest.
I'm too heavy.
No.
And what?
I love you.
And there's no question about the chemistry. And I think the fact that it was offbeat is what made you interested.
They come together and he grounds her, he hones her, he takes the edges off her, but she gives him a little pizzazz and a little spark and a little energy.
Instead of the woman influencing the man, it was the man, as Kate Hepburn said, reaching out his big paw and smashing down this know-it-all, very self-sufficient woman.
They're really opposite and they spark off one another, and then the unifying of them is exciting because they are so different.
It was full of surprises.
Well, I don't know. I can't quite figure you out. Well, what are you trying to prove? Why am I here?
Well, Sam, I
After all, you know, little Normo could have driven you down here. Why did you ask me?
thought you might want to kiss me goodbye.
Oh, hello.
Who's that?
Oh, you wouldn't know them, darling. They're respectable.
That's my favorite.
Oh, Nicky, that's a nightgown.
That's still my favorite. Oh, Irene. Come in, darling.
When you put Myrna Loy and William Powell together, that's where you get a truly beautifully matched on-screen couple.
They happened to have a marvelous kind of rapport and had a great sense of humor between the two of them. One was the catalyst for the other, and vice versa.
Pretty girl.
Yes, she's a very nice type.
You got types?
Only you, darling. Lanky brunettes with wicked jaws.
There was a great yin and yang, a great give and take, this great kind of sophisticated, erudite, urbane couple who could get away with saying the most outrageous things.
Oh, I'm a hero. I was shot twice in the Tribune.
I read where you were shot 5 times in the tabloids.
It's not true. He didn't come anywhere near my tabloids. Ah, bullseye.
They really kind of epitomize that sort of 1930s modern impression that people had of what the modern couple should be.
They're both very cool, they're very sophisticated, they're very low-key about it, they have a lot of wit, a lot of charm, but he is the master of the double entendre. He is the master of clever line delivery that seems to be tossed casually over his shoulder.
I wonder what's up.
Where?
Up there.
Where?
There. And it comes out here.
No one can handle him on screen except Myrna Loy can puncture his balloon every single time.
Nicky, can you reach the water?
Mm-hmm.
I don't want it. I just wanted to be sure you could reach it.
The Thin Man series is a really interesting series because, of course, it's not about a married couple in the sense that it's not a marriage movie, it's a murder mystery. But we don't remember them that way because who cares about those silly plots and finding out who the murderer is? What we really enjoy is the bantering, charming, sophisticated relationship between Nick and Nora Charles.
But Nicky, he might have killed you.
So what's the matter? You sorry he didn't?
Oh, I'm glad you're not a detective.
They seem to be, for all their glamour, and they are glamorous, they seem to be a real couple, but they seem to be real because they bicker.
Nicky,
What?
you asleep?
Yes.
Good. I want to talk to you.
What people saw was a sort of touchstone of their own marriages, that is, people bickering, and yet with all the glamour that they would like to have. The furniture, the clothes, the gaiety, the going to New York, all the stuff that maybe wasn't in their everyday lives was connected to something that was in their everyday lives.
What were you going to say?
Nothing.
Oh, well, don't you want to talk about something?
Yes. Do you take dope?
In their pairing, they were sort of rambunctiously sophisticated, and I think that's a very good way to describe the two of them together. They really are a wonderful match on screen.
I'll tell you what. You go home, cold cream that lovely face, slip into an exciting negligee,
Yes.
and I'll see you at breakfast.
Errol Flynn and Olivia de Havilland are a pairing that is a definite product of the studio system. They were both under contract at Warner Brothers. They were cast together in what many people think is Errol Flynn's first film, but he had actually done earlier work, Captain Blood.
It was fortunate for you that I was here to save you.
I hardly consider it fortunate to be bought by anyone by the name of Bishop.
You could learn a lesson in gratitude.
She's playing a proper young woman, but she's got a little saucy quality to her. He's playing a kind of naughty, piratey guy, but he's got decency to him. So when you put the package together, they enhance one another.
Isn't it true that you hate me?
Hate you?
Or is it that you love me?
I'll hide you. And tonight, after dark, I'll find some way.
You love me, don't you? Don't you?
Whom else would I love?